What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Two Game Podcast. We are continuing our deep dive series into the trilogy Lord of the Rings, and this is the final episode of the OG trilogy. Okay, we still got other movies to talk about further down the road, but the OG trilogy. This is the final episode. We are discussing, recapping, reviewing, talking about fun facts, all the whole nine yards, diving balls deep into The Return of the King, the final movie of the OG trilogy. Like I said, I have Preston Johnson with me.
Hello, hello.
And Sir Nick Ziegler.
Howdy, howdy.
And like I said, we're here to talk anything and everything about the extended edition of The Return of the King. And if you clicked on this video and you're like, man, I haven't watched the or listened to the first two episodes of this deep dive series. As much as I would love for you to, start here and watch it and us talk about Lord of the Rings and our love for Lord of the Rings for an hour and a half, 2 hours, I would highly recommend going back and obviously watching the first two deep dives into the Fellowship and then the Two Towers before you watch this. But yeah, The Return of the King. Let's fucking cap it off, guys. By the way, I think we kind of briefly discussed when we were going to start recording the Hobbit trilogy. So when y'all watch this, when you watch this episode, we're probably still recording the episodes for the Hobbit. So I think we'll keep going for the Hobbit, but obviously there's going to be a space by the time we get to the Hobbit trilogy when we release it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it makes sense in my head. Y'all look at me like you're dumbfounded.
Also,
I don't know what he said. All I know is 2 weeks from now we're reviewing the Hobbit. Okay.
Yes.
All at once or three pieces?
One at a time, sir. Let's not get overzealous here.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do all three movies in one sitting.
Oh, this motherfucker already starting, man. He's already starting. like we said last week, man. We're gonna tell you a different day for the recording.
Right. I'm gonna show up and be like, where the fuck are these guys?
So before we jump into the deep dive, if you like what we're doing here and if you want to consider supporting us, there is a link down below to our Patreon. We would greatly appreciate you supporting us there. There's also links to our merch. Go buy you a dope hoodie. I wish I had the money to buy a hoodie right now, because otherwise this would be a great time to showcase that and what's the word I'm looking for? Advertise the merch. But there's do what?
I said I should have put my shirt on for this.
Or no shirt. I think we prefer the no shirt.
The shirts are very comfortable, y'all. You should buy a shirt. They're nice and soft.
There you go.
Yeah.
A little plug-in never hurt nobody.
A little bit,
There's also links to our social media accounts. Go like, subscribe, follow, do all that bullshit. It really helps us get our name out there. So we would greatly appreciate it if you just at least did that. If you didn't want to support us monthly, at least like and subscribe. That would greatly benefit us. Okay. But that's enough of that bullshit. Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. This one is also directed by Peter Jackson, obviously, and I'm not gonna go through the all the shit that he's directed. Budget of $94 million, so still the same budget from the last three movies or the previous two movies. This one though grossed $1.1 billion. Okay, billion. I'm curious to know what the inflation is on that nowadays.
Yeah.
Inflation for Return of the King.
And this was released 3 days ago, 20 years ago. We're like right at the cusp of the 20th anniversary.
God damn, man. It's like that just seems, it doesn't seem so long ago, but it also seems like forever ago at the same time. I don't know if y'all feel that way.
Yeah, I mean that was high school.
Which I do have a high school. I wasn't even fucking in high school yet, motherfucker.
that was what, junior year for me, I think.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Well, it's 2003, so yeah, that was junior year for me too.
Yep.
I was almost in high school. I was a couple years away. I'm trying to look up the inflation numbers here for everybody. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Fun fact, by the way, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the one that came out in the 30s, $2 billion adjusted for inflation. God damn. That's a lot of fucking money for a movie that came out in the 30s.
That's healthy. That is healthy.
All right, Return of the King. Adjusted for inflation, 1.65 to 1.7 billion dollars. It puts it at number 22 all time in the box office.
That's a pretty good bump.
That's a pretty good bump. $500 million. Never hurt nobody. So this movie stars Elijah Wood, Ian McKellen, Orlando Bloom, and Viggo Mortensen. The runtime of theatrical version has 3 hours and 21 minutes, and the extended edition is 4 hours and 11 minutes. It adds about 50 minutes worth of runtime to this particular movie. So we're gonna jump into I have a few fun facts before we jump into our overall impressions, okay? And then I also have a couple fun facts throughout the deep dive. So the Lord of the Rings trilogy, okay, talking about all three movies here, became the most nominated film franchise in Academy Award history with 30 nominations. It surpassed the Godfather trilogy, which had 29, and the Star Wars franchise, which has 21. This movie marks the second time in history that the third movie in a trilogy was nominated for Best Picture by the Academy Awards and Golden Globes after The Godfather Part 3. And it is the only time that a third movie has won the Best Picture Oscar. At 11 Academy Award wins, it won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Film Editing, Best Art/Set Decoration, Best Costume Design, Best Makeup, Best Score, Best Original Song, Best Sound Mixing, and Best Visual Effects. I'm pretty sure they won every fucking award. Jesus Christ.
It's just the best.
And they had 11 nominations, and they got 11 awards. They were perfect, 11 for 11. And also, this is the first fantasy movie to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. Let's see. The final reel of the movie to be completed was done only 5 days before the world premiere in Wellington, New Zealand. It was still wet from developing because there was no time to dry it. The premiere was the first time that director Sir Peter Jackson had seen the completed movie. 5 days beforehand. That used to be more commonplace way back in the day. I remember, I forget what movie it was. But when I worked at the theater, they were like, "Oh, dude, this fucking movie got finished like 3 days ago." And I'm like, "God damn, man. How'd you even let that happen?" And the last little fun fact before we jump into our overall impressions. In February 2004, it became the second movie to break the $1 billion mark in worldwide box office revenue. Titanic in 1997 was the first. So this one broke all kinds of records, got all kinds of achievements, and
and I thought the 1 billion was like over the last 20 years, not just 1 year.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's way more impressive.
Yeah.
If they ever do a re-release, they should have done the re-releases for
the 20th
20 year.
anniversary.
You would think. I would totally be down for going to see those in theaters again.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Now, would you want Peter Jackson to George Lucas them?
What do you mean by that?
Well, you know how George Lucas does things to movies he made 20 years prior.
What do you mean, like remastering and stuff?
Like remaster them, add in more stuff, and have the extended editions, new CGI and technologies to make them look more like he wanted them to look now versus how they were released.
But he pulled stuff away from those movies, though.
Yeah, are we talking about like extended from like shit that got excluded, or like new shit that he would put in, like newly recorded stuff?
I don't know. I'm just asking because, George Lucas. Would you want the George Lucas version or the Peter Jackson version of the Lord of the Rings?
It's a no for me, dog.
Yeah. Look, I firmly believe that they should never. I know this is not going to happen. They're 100% going to do this in a handful of years, guaranteed. I don't believe they should ever remake these movies ever. It's perfect the way that it's done. Even with the visual effects, being a little off throughout the movie. I mean, granted, this movie came out fucking 20 years ago. I think it's fine. It doesn't take you out of the movie whatsoever. It's still better than most movies that come out nowadays. I'm looking at you, Marvel. As far as the whole George Lucas thing, he added, but he also took away stuff. I don't want them to take away stuff. And because look, don't fix what's not broken.
Did he take it away or did he just tweak it?
He took it away. What was the famous thing that he took away from the Star Wars trilogy? I can't remember it. I do know that he added like the god awful CGI shit with like Anakin at the very end of 3 or 6, excuse me. And then he also did Jabba the Hutt CGI.
And he also did the music number in Jabba's lair.
Yes. So I personally would not want them to fuck with this whatsoever.
I agree. I think just leave it untouched. Just do release the extended editions out for theaters.
Yeah.
Yes. God, could you imagine seeing these fucking movies in theaters?
You would have to bring back the intermission.
You would have to. Now the real question is, would you want them yearly for nostalgia purposes, or would you want them all three to come out like a month apart or something like that?
No, I would do them year by year because they were released once a year, correct?
Yep.
So I would start, right, it's too late now. We'll do it at the 30th anniversary. Release the 30th anniversary of Fellowship, the 30th anniversary of Two Towers, 30th anniversary of Return.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like it.
I'm there.
And then for the hardcore ones, on that third year, also give the option to just spend 12 hours in the theater.
God damn, bro.
with all the deleted and shit.
Everything. 12 hours in the theater, just sitting there in IMAX.
I'd probably fucking do it, to be honest with you.
Look, that would be one of those things where you kind of say to yourself, like 10 years from that, dude, I was there, man. When they fucking did the re-release and we fucking waited, we waited in line and we watched that movie for fucking 12 hours.
We were intense. We were intense for 2 weeks, waiting for the doors to open.
We dehydrated ourselves so we wouldn't have to fucking go pee so much. All right. So yeah, like Nick said, this is the 20th anniversary of Return of the King. December 17th was the anniversary for that. So what are our general overall impressions of Return of the King? We'll go with you, Creston.
Return of the King, the culmination. You finally get the climax.
Yes.
Good battles, lots of good storylines. Kind of start off with like 3 different ones that all kind of meet up at the end. I'm ranking it number 2 out of the 3, obviously. All 3 were, home runs, but it's number 2 for me. But overall, just fucking awesome. Yeah. Not a whole lot of gripes on it for sure. Although I have to say, since Nick mentioned Gollum's color against the background, that's all I could fucking see the whole movie. So
I thought it was a little bit better this time.
It was, but it was a little off.
I
actually completely forgot about it and I didn't even notice it.
No, they did a better job in the third movie. Him not being as washed out and the shadowing effects not being as bad as
there was a scene like Minas Morgul when they were about to go up the stairs, and it was pretty bad. And I was like, thanks for that, Nick. Appreciate it.
Fucking ruined it. And he's good at that, man. Like he's good at. I tell everybody, I liked The Last Jedi up until the moment that I started talking to Nick about it.
God.
And then I fucking hate it. He fucking ruined that movie for me. What about you, Nick?
This was a great cap to the story. I like the fact that Peter Jackson changed some of the book storyline and made it his own, and I think it actually flowed better and did a better job at telling a story for a movie versus a book. I can't complain about the changes he made. I think they all fit.
How do we feel about extended versus theatrical?
It didn't hurt it, but it didn't help it. It just made it longer.
Yeah, shout out. I think it is out of the extended editions, it is definitely the second best out of the three.
Yeah, Two Towers struggled with it.
Yeah, Two Towers was when all they great in terms of the extended edition. Like if we're comparing like how they added to the movie itself.
Yeah, Fellowship definitely benefited from the extended edition. Two Towers was hurt by it. And then Return, it stayed on the same line.
I don't know if it stays. I think it's
I feel like
it's still better paced. I mean, I'm not going to say no to the extended editions.
Yeah. More is better.
Exactly.
You're already there for 4 hours. Fuck it. Let's do another 45.
Right. I actually forgot that this movie was 3.5 hours long originally, before you get the extended editions. Yeah.
Oh,
I told my son.
I remembered it because of the ending, and I was ready to piss my pants in the theaters. And I'm like, okay, it's about to be over. It's about to be over. Ending number 2. No, that's gonna be it. It's about to be over. You know, I did that for 20 times until it was finally fucking ended. I'm about to pee in my cup because I had to go so bad.
What's funny about that is I think there was like an hour. I watched like 2 hours at work the other night when I was working because night shift, Nick. And I had like an hour and a half left, and I was like, all right, fuck. And it was I think it was right around the end of the it was the end of the fight, and the Witch King was about to get killed, and I was like, well, fuck, man. Hour and a half left. Actually, there's only like 45 minutes worth of story left. It's like an hour for the ending. It is a very long ending. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's very misleading because the fight's over and you're like, oh, we're getting close.
So yeah, this is the perfect ending, and it kind of cements it as the best trilogy of movies of all time. And I think you would put it up there above Star Wars, even The Dark Knight, because I think there's as good of a story that The Dark Knight told over 3 movies. The Dark Knight Rises has some not technological, but like technical issues with the movie that they did with like editing and whatnot that kind of just fucking pisses me off about it. And then there are some moments here or there with the Star Wars trilogy. I'm like, it's like one of these things where I'm like, I'm not gonna say no to it, but also it's like not as good as some of the other stuff in the trilogy. I think this is for the most part a perfect trilogy from beginning to end, and that's even with the end stuff in the Two Towers, which it's grown on me with these watches that we have done. This is number 6 on my all-time favorite list. Objectively speaking, I think it's in that conversation of like best movies ever made. The composer Howard Shore sold his soul to the fucking devil for the score because that shit is iconic and it is fucking fantastic. The acting is top notch. Do what?
That it's mint,
sir. Yes. The acting is top notch from the highest paid actor to the lowest paid ones. The pacing is fantastic, even with it being 4.5 hours long for the extended edition. This film just kind of ties everything in a nice bow and kind of answers all of your questions and doesn't really leave you hanging, which a lot of movies try doing nowadays. As far as the extended edition goes, after watching it, I watched it for the first time last year. I would have said this one had This one definitely adds the most scenes to it, obviously, because it has 50 minutes extra to it. I still think they could have cut out a large portion of the scenes and it probably would have been better. But again, I won't say no to more Lord of the Rings by any means. I do think that a lot of the additional scenes do fill in the gaps, but maybe the quality of those scenes, like in terms of like visual effects and whatnot, are just not up to par with like Fellowship or Two Towers. I think, and we've already mentioned this, I think it's the second best extended edition out of the three. Fellowship is obviously number one. The thing with, and Nick kind of mentioned this, the thing with the Fellowship extended edition, I think that movie actually gets better with the extended edition. Whereas these last two, it's kind of like a cherry on top kind of situation. Ultimately, the theatrical version of Return of the King is superior to the extended edition. Same thing with Two Towers. I think it's better paced than this one, even though this one is paced really well. But yeah, second best movie of the trilogy, and I gotta say, man, after watching this one, it's closer than I thought in terms of it being closer to Fellowship, in terms of being my favorite one out of the three. But you really couldn't sit here and say, like, if you were sitting across from me and you said, "No, Return of the King is the best movie," I can see it, and I probably couldn't argue off that ledge. 5 stars, masterpiece of a film. And now we are going to jump into our recap of
only 30 minutes into the review.
right. But guys, I fucking told you, man, this is gonna be a fucking long episode. Fucking buckle up, okay? And I'm also playing injured here, man. Dude, I fucking tweaked my back at work before work actually even started.
Damn. Need to get you a tens unit.
Yeah, I'm playing injured here. But you know, I'm a man of loyalty, honor, and integrity. I'm gonna finish this trilogy out. Okay.
I can untweak your back for you, as excited as I've been since I left work last.
Ew.
Well,
been walking around knocking shit over for the last 24 hours.
Yes. And I'm also fucking hungry as well. So it's coming at me from all sides. All right. So he was indeed once a fisherman, talking about Smeagol, as his brother Deagle falls into the lake being dragged by the baited fish. His hands fall on a shiny ring in the sand at the bottom of the water. He carries it in his hand. Smeagol stands behind him and is at once taken by its beauty. He asks him to give the ring to him. When he doesn't, Smeagol murders him. Smeagol holds it in his hands, and we see how he turns into Gollum over the years. Smeagol was abandoned by the community for murdering his brother, and he wasted away in the darkness of dungeons to become the the beast that you see before you.
I mean, it was his birthday. He should have gave
birthday, right?
I mean, to be fair, it's kind of his fault that he got killed.
Right. R.I.P.
I got a fun fact for Golem on this one.
All right.
Andy Serkis, the voice actor, and he also actually did the body motions under the ball costume thing or whatever.
Talk about pain. That dude had to have some back pain after that shit.
You know it. But he modeled the voice of Golem after hearing his cat coughing up a hairball.
Yep.
I can see that.
Yep.
Especially the Gollum.
Yeah. his cat was walking across the room and just started hacking. He goes, "You know what? That's how Golem's going to sound. Perfect."
You know, that's the beauty of movies being made, man. It's just like you never would have thought something like that would translate well to a movie.
And he would have to actually exercise his voice every day for like 30 minutes before voice acting, getting his voice all harsh and croaky and stuff like that before he could actually play Golem's character.
You know, that'd be terrible vocal cords.
I've never noticed it before, but the Witch King, I was like, that voice sounds kind of familiar. Who the fuck is it? It's Andy Serkis.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, didn't know that.
That's badass. I didn't know that either.
That dude's a fucking savage. Have you ever listened to the audiobook that he does?
That's the one you were listening to, right? He was doing the whole book for you? Yeah. No, I haven't heard it.
It's smooth as fucking butter, man. That dude right there. National treasure. And he also played Caesar in Planet of the Apes. Fucking fantastic movies. But anyways, that's ADD moment. So one thing about the scene that I will say is I really love that they took the time to kind of give us a flashback into kind of how he was made. And I don't know, they probably could have put it in Two Towers, but I feel like it works best in this movie, considering how he becomes kind of a central focus of the story, especially with destroying the ring towards the back end of the movie.
I mean,
I think,
hero of Middle Earth.
I mean, technically speaking, he
We'll,
is.
we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually, I do have notes down towards the end of the movie about who the actual real heroes of fucking Middle Earth is. We're definitely gonna get into that.
Okay.
Newsflash: it's not Frodo.
It's not fucking Frodo, guys. He's a baby back bitch. But yeah, I think the really cool thing about that whole sequence is I think they did a spectacular job of kind of showcasing that transformation and just how fucking gross he becomes over the years. They did a really good job with the makeup and the costume design there.
Yeah, it kind of humanizes him like backwards. Instead of getting the humanized version first, you get the monster creature in the flashback. Kind of shows how he used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. I like that scene being in Return versus it maybe being in Two Towers. I don't think it would have worked in Two Towers.
No, not as well, I don't think.
Mm.
So Frodo is unable to sleep anymore. Smeagol takes him further, or takes them further, excuse me. Sam rations the food for the journey back home as Frodo sees that possibility grow unlikely by the minute. Gandalf and the others reach Isengard, where Treebeard has taken over. Saruman is locked inside the tower now with no powers. Speaking of which, all of the scenes with Saruman are not in the theatrical edition. This is strictly extended edition. You can definitely tell because the CGI and special effects are not as good here.
That fireball.
And Christopher,
right? Bro.
Christopher Lee was pissed when he found out he got cut from Return of the King to where he boycotted the premiere.
He's a savage.
Yeah, straight up boycott.
I mean, let's be completely fair here. He should not have been cut. I think this is like justifiably so. I think this works better with the extended edition, and definitely should not have been cut from the movie.
I don't know. I go back and forth on that because it was a complete departure from the books. This was the Saruman death scene and everything. Complete departure from the books. None of that ever happened. And I don't think. I don't know. I preferred him just being locked up in the tower to have like what happens in the book maybe happen off screen later on in time.
Yeah, I mean for the movie's purpose though, you get some resolution as to what happened. Yeah, some closure.
Well, I mean, in the theatrical release, they just say, "Hey, Treebeard, just keep him locked up in the fucking tower, and he'll just stay there." They mention him. They mention him. They say he's locked up in the tower. He's just going to stay there. The trees are going to guard him.
He'll be fine.
Right.
People got the tower.
There's nothing that he can do to us by any means.
Yeah, Gandalf in the meantime leaves, and then Saruman starts showering down shitty ass fireballs on the Ents.
God, that shit was ugly. Like, put that up there with like Spawn CGI effects. It's some of the worst CGI effects ever. So let me get back to my notes here. Pippin spots his Palantir that Gandalf quickly takes under his cloak. Theoden and the people of Rohan return to their homes. They drink and feast in the honor of the fallen. Eowyn takes interest in Aragorn. She courts him as a probable groom. How she is mistaken. We get the first of many scenes, and this is kind of the issue that I have with this particular version of the movie versus the theatrical. I'm talking about the drinking competition between Legolas, Gimli, and all the burping and whatnot. They try to incorporate like early 2000s, late 90s humor here, and I feel like it really takes me out of the movie at times because it's humor that we didn't necessarily get in the first two movies, even with the extended editions. I felt like the humor was handled better, especially from the competition standpoint, in the other movie. And just this particular scene. I mean, they still have the competition shit towards the end of the movie, but in terms of them drinking and burping and shit like that, it just seems too silly to me. What do y'all think?
But you also got to think about where they were at in the story. Like for the last two movies, it's just been go go go, fight fight fight, and this is the first time they've actually had a victory where they can sit back and relax for 5 minutes.
I don't know. The tone is off
Yeah.
for me. The tone is off.
I don't mind it, but I get what you're saying with the goofy humor. It's a little over the top sometimes.
Now, I want to be clear. I'm not saying I dislike any of this. I'm just saying in terms of making it a better movie in comparison to the theatrical version, I feel like the theatrical version works better because it does not have this humor in it.
Listen, Kay.
Fuck you. So Gollum rallies Smeagol to kill the hobbits. They talk about she, who is always hungry and will eat the hobbits when they go through the tunnel. Sam wakes up in the middle of Gollum's blabbering. He jumps on him, but Frodo stops him. He still needs Gollum as a guide. Sam reluctantly agrees, but is wary of Smeagol's next move. I really love this scene. Super simple, but the whole reflection thing going on in the water that differentiates the two personalities of Smeagol and Gollum. I think Andy Serkis's acting is fucking fantastic here.
He's number one in
And
the movie.
number one in terms of acting.
Yes, in the movie.
Yeah. No, I'd actually agree with that.
Yep.
I don't know. I think Viggo Mortensen's acting was probably better in Two Towers and Fellowship in comparison to this one. But he was pretty even for the most part. Yeah, I'll go with Andy Serkis as being the MVP in terms of acting.
MVP.
I'm going with the
And then a close second was Ian McKellen.
Who are you going with, Preston?
King Theoden. He's
Yeah.
got the whole fucking bag of one-liners, man, and that speech that he gives. I'm not trying to jump forward, but like,
So we are going to fucking talk about that speech. You just fucking you hold that erection, sir. you just fucking hold it right there.
Tape that motherfucker down for 1 hour, and we'll get to it.
All right. So I don't have a whole lot of notes for a little bit. Thank God. We can actually kind of move forward with the story a little bit. So at night, Pippin takes away Saruman's palantir and looks into it. The eye growls at him and torments him in black speech. He is paralyzed under his spell. Gandalf brings him back and asks him what he saw. A dead white tree in the courtyard with a city burning around it. Minas Tirith, Gandalf identifies. Thankfully, Pippin didn't tell Sauron anything about Frodo. Gandalf deduces Pippin's glimpse into the Palantir as the enemies plan to attack the city of Minas Tirith. But he's wary of the strength of the man. As soon as Gondor's call for help is lit, Rohan must ride to help. Theoden disagrees. If they didn't come to help them, why should they? Aragorn says he'll go and warn Gondor. Gandalf says he must come through another way, through the river looking for black ships. Gandalf will carry the message to Gondor and take Pippin with him. The enemy will now be looking for him as he thinks he has the ring. As Arwen is being taken away to board the ship, she has a vision of Aragorn with their son wearing her Evenstar. She turns around and rides into Rivendell. She rushes to Elrond and asks what he saw. Death for Arwen and life for her son. She begs her father to reforge the sword that took the ring out of Sauron's hand. Elrond sees the life leaving Arwen in his foresight, and he mends the sword as promised. Gandalf arrives at Minas Tirith, the city of kings. Pippin sees the white tree, which Gandalf explains as the king's tree. Gondor has no king, but a steward, Lord Denethor.
boo.
Hey, but
Fuck.
the guy that plays him, phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's honestly one of my most favorite actors.
When he's eating those fucking tomatoes, god damn.
I'm so glad. Okay. I thought it was just me all these years. I'm like, dude, I can't fucking stand it when you eat those. And then when he's like grabbing the fucking grapes and shit, and he's fucking like drop. I don't know, man. It's like something about the fucking acting. I'm like, I fucking just hate you.
Break it in half and fucking shoving it in. Juice is falling over his mouth.
So, if you like John Noble playing Denethor in this movie, I highly recommend it. I've been trying to get you to watch this TV series for years, Matt. Fringe. It's an old Fox TV show, Fringe. John Noble's one of the main actors. Phenomenal TV show, phenomenal acting on John Noble's part.
You know, I kind of want to just like kind of prop you up a little bit and say, yeah, man, I'm gonna fucking. That's like
I know
next on my
you'll never
list.
get to it,
I
but
probably won't ever get to it.
you need
Just
to.
hit him with the okay.
Okay,
You need to
yeah.
at least watch the first season and then feel it from there. But
Oh, I'll feel it. All right.
get the first episode under your feet. It's a 2-hour episode. It's like watching a little mini movie. Just
Yeah.
that one thing. Get the flavor. Get the little taste of it.
They were confident, huh? 2-hour
Mhm.
first episode.
Right.
That's a bold move.
I gotta respect it.
No doubt. I think I might watch it now.
Let's see here. This is Boromir's father. And Gandalf warns him not to say anything to the Lord and let him do the talking. Gandalf greets him, but Denethor already knows of Boromir's death. Dude, I can't fucking talk tonight. Pippin steps forward to explain to him that Boromir died saving his kinsman. Gandalf pushes him aside and asks Denethor to light the beacons and call for help. He must ready the armies and prepare the defense of the city. Denethor denounces Gandalf's plan and sees it as I don't even know what the fuck that word is. Sees it as a plan to dethrone him and install Aragorn on the throne. Again, I did not write these.
Supplant.
It was not supplant, but yes, essentially the same word. Gandalf fears the worst fight as he and Pippin look out at the city over the grounds where the battle for the earth will be fought. Mordor's call to arms has been heralded by even men, mercenaries from the coast and legions of Haradrim from the south. At Gondor, the hammer store will fall the hardest. Whatever. After Osgiliath, Gondor is next. Gandalf tells Pippin of the Witch King, the one who stabbed Frodo in Weathertop. He will lead Sauron's armies, and no living man can kill him. Does the book explain kind of like how Gandalf just happens upon this information, or is it just because he's a wizard and he kind of has that foresight and shit like that?
What information specifically?
Just he's the Witch King is coming, and he's Sauron's ultimate guy, and he's going to lead all these armies, and no living man can kill him.
No, that wasn't just Gandalf that said that no living man can kill him, and it was more like a mythos, not a true fact.
Okay, I didn't know if the book had like I don't know some deeper lore there or
No.
deeper information in terms of how he came about that information.
Yeah, no, and it's no fact that no man can kill him. You know how they kind of inserted the female power tripe there.
We're going to talk about that. I promise you.
Yeah. So that wasn't specific for the book. It was just more of like this thing is indestructible. Nothing can kill him.
I got you.
Yeah.
So Gollum, Sam, and Frodo reach the Dead City where Sauron's armies prepare for battle. Gollum shepherds them to the stairs that will lead them to Mordor. The Witch King emerges and the gates open, making way for his army. Frodo's ascent begins up the stairs. Pippin is given the task of lighting the beacon by Gandalf. Others respond as hope is kindled. The orcs sail silently to the shores of Osgiliath. They're met by a brave resistance of men, but eventually they overpower them. Aragorn rushes to tell Theoden that the beacons are lit. The king declares that Rohan will answer and readies his men. He
Insert one line.
Do what?
I said insert a one-liner.
Rohan will answer.
Yeah, there it is.
He asks his lieutenants to ask for further reinforcements. Eowyn plans on joining the fight and taking to the battleground in secrecy. By the way, a couple of things we're going to mention on this deep dive that we have failed to mention over the last 2 episodes. I haven't mentioned Carl Urban.
He was written down in my notes. Hold on, let me find it. Matt Primo's Free Pass.
Which is so funny because I have in my notes, I'm 100% a Carl Urban dick rider. Yes. So dude is fucking underrated as an actor. Now, there's a scene later in the movie that I think like dude fucking acted his ass off for about 10 seconds. And it was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's great, man, especially in Dread and the Boys, especially in the Boys.
The Boys, yes.
Yeah. Whew.
So good. I wish he had a little more screen time. Does he get like more time in the books, at least? As a character, obviously.
More of a main guy.
Yeah, he is.
In Two Towers, instead of him being with the Rohirrim that Gandalf goes and gets, he's already at Helm's Deep. And Gandalf goes and gets the other dude. I can't remember his
There
fucking
was
name.
somebody else that was leading the Rohirrim around all of
Yeah.
them.
But yeah, man, Carl Urban. I combined both. I told you, man, I can't fucking talk tonight. Underrated as a fucking actor, 100%. I like him in just about everything that he does.
Same. He's solid.
By the way, a lesser known movie, if you are a huge Carl Urban fan, The Pathfinder.
I have never seen it, and I knew he was the lead in that, but
It's a solid B-rated movie. Solid B-rated movie about Vikings and shit. So I mean, how bad can it be? Let's see here. Leftover riders ride to Minas Tirith as the Nazguls pick them out in the open. Gandalf saves the day with his white light and brings a handful back. Gandalf meets Faramir, who tells them that they're taking the road to Morgul Vale. Gandalf is concerned and seeks more details from Faramir. There's an extended scene here that wasn't in the OG, where Denethor argues with Faramir about why he didn't bring the ring to Gondor. While I think this adds to his character and his relationship with his father, I thought the whole bad CGI Boromir thing behind him probably should have added that.
that was distracting.
That fucking smile though, as he's fucking morphing in.
That was straight up like a scene from a soap opera.
He fucking shows up. I'm like, oh, that's ugly. Why are you smiling?
It's like they completely forgot to call Sean Bean to come in for a 5-second shoot, and they're like, we'll just take this from one of the other movies.
Yeah, dude, it's hideous. It's hideous. That whole scene would have been fucking great if he was not in it. Just a bad addition. So Smeagol, Sam, and Frodo reach the top. Smeagol poisons Frodo against Sam that he intends to take the ring for himself. The Witch King stands atop Osgiliath and says he will handle the wizard while ordering legions of orcs to assemble and attack. Denethor orders Faramir and his men to take Osgiliath again. It is an act of envy, as he says he wished Faramir died instead of Boromir. Another great scene between these two, Denethor and Faramir. That relationship or lack thereof was done really well, I think, and I find it easy to really enjoy the exploration of said relationship. And great acting from David Wenham in this scene. I'm probably saying his name wrong, but go fuck yourself. Where you can literally see like his eyes tearing up, but he never actually sheds that tear, and it's a great sign of like a show of like strength to hold that back. Like he doesn't want to show his father that he's fucking weak by crying. I thought it was a great touch for that scene.
I agree. He did some good acting on that scene.
Fantastic. And it was cut. Like that should have been in the fucking movie. Gollum encourages more infighting as he throws away the last remaining bread and blames it on Sam. The tensions run high and the creature's plan is succeeding. Frodo is convinced Sam wants the ring for himself and parts ways with him. He goes on with Gollum as Sam cries for his friend. Fantastic fucking acting from Sean Astin here, guys. Like that dude fucking cried his ass off. He held 3 movies worth of fucking acting and crying for this one scene.
I love the Gollum one-liner though. After Sam's just sneaking around doing all kinds of sneaky ass shit. The Golem's like, "What are you talking about, man? I'm just hanging out here." He goes, "Okay, I'm sorry, but what were you doing?" He's like, "Sneaking."
Dude, I love the Gollum shit in this movie. Man. It's fucking fantastic. Let's see. Faramir and his men followed Denethor's suicide mission to retake Osgiliath. Everyone knows how it would end, but yet they march on. The aims of the orcs' arrows are locked in moments, him and his men are killed. So
Are you going to talk about it?
We're going to talk about it. Okay, this is this whole scene of him riding off, and then it's layered with this fucking singing that's going on. Okay, so I will say this: for the longest time, this was my absolute least favorite part of Return of the King. I fucking hated the singing in this.
Are you talking about Pippin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it because of the
Do what?
Is it because of the tomatoes?
No,
I think that I think that helped. I think that did make it worse.
He has like always hated Pippin singing.
Always.
Just got a nice.
Like I said, just hear me out. Just hear me out.
And it wasn't planned. This was like the day before. They're like, "Hey, man, we heard you singing in a bar after filming one day. Why don't you sing a song in the movie?"
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yep.
But I will say this. I've changed my mind on it the last couple of times that I've watched this movie. And I actually will lean more towards liking it more than disliking it. Because for some reason, I always thought that his singing lasted like it felt like fucking 2 hours worth of the 4.5 hour movie that it is. And I felt like it never fucking ended. But it legitimately only lasts like 30, 45 seconds. I don't know. Maybe it's like some Mandela effect or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, it was this scene and the Ents that were my least favorite parts of the like Lord of the Rings trilogy. So it's kind of just the Ents now. I do like this sequence more so now versus in previous watches. So growth, guys. Not enough men have answered Theoden's call. Mordor's lines will not be broken by a mere 6,000. Legolas explains the legend of Dimholt, the door under the mountain, to Gimli. No one who has gone in has ever returned. Aragorn draws closer to the road to Dimholt as Gimli brings him out of his trance. Aragorn is woken by a soldier who summons him to the king's tent. Lord Elrond visits him and informs him about Arwen, who is dying. Elrond foresees their defeat. He tells them of another fleet of ships that will attack from another front, and a defeat is certain unless Aragorn is able to conjure the men who dwell in the mountain. Elrond, looking like an absolute savage while doing so, gives Elrond the reforged sword. He says the cursed men will answer to the king of Gondor. Like I said, dope scene where he fucking pulls it out of his fucking cloak. Fucking savage.
What
was that?
Unsheaths it.
Yeah. Unsheaths for those uninitiated. Aragorn's destiny calls out for him. He must seek his true identity and march on to Dimholt. Aragorn prepares his horse and dismisses Eowyn's love for him. Legolas and Gimli accompany Aragorn to Dimholt. Dude just fucking straight up just said, no.
Swerve.
He said, "Bitch, you remember that shit you fucking cooked for me a couple of days ago?" Nah, bro.
Dude swiped left real hard on this guy. right in her face. He's just like, you see.
So during this sequence, Aragorn finally kind of accepts his destiny as the king of Gondor. Such a great character arc for him, and I still think he doesn't want the crown, but he kind of realizes that in order to unite Middle Earth and defeat Sauron, he must become the king. Still a lot of depth to his character and his arc. All that was done really well over the course of these 3 films.
And I like that's not how it was in the book. So I like they made his arc different for the movie. I think it works better.
Yeah. Same with the sword.
Yeah. He had the sword the entire time in the trilogy.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But the reforging and stuff was a nice touch.
Yeah.
It makes sense in terms of the movie. It's kind of like getting your final weapon in a video game. It's like, okay,
right. Even
it's time for the final boss.
In Rivendell, when the shards were there and Boromir was looking at it and shit. It was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Huh. Did not know this.
Yeah, and in the book, so Aragorn and Arwen were engaged for the past 50 years or something like that. And Elrond's only way that he would condone the marriage was if Aragorn became king of Gondor and the Northlands. That was you have to be king before you can marry my daughter. So for the last 50 years, Aragorn has been pressured. That's the only way I'm going to get to marry this girl is if I become the king. So I'm going to be king.
It's on the outskirts. Build B.
Is it weird that I think about the Lion King when we're talking about this? I just can't wait to be king.
He just can't wait to be king.
That dude just wants a banger, man. That's all he wants to do, man. God damn. So men see Aragorn's departure as the loss of hope. Theoden reassures them that they will still battle with a full heart and die in the process, basically. Because I'm pretty sure he says that.
He does. He's straight up. We're still gonna go. We're gonna die. We're gonna go.
We will nonetheless.
Bro, you couldn't have made us feel a little bit better about this. Legolas explains the legend behind these men. They were cursed as they broke their promise to the last king of Gondor to come to their aid in battle. Isildur cursed them never to rest and remain in the darkness of the mountain. At the mouth of the entrance, Aragorn enters, Legolas follows, and then Gimli is forced to keep the name of dwarves. Theoden and his men leave for battle. And this is the main issue that I have with the extended edition. And I think it honestly kind of hurts the overall movie for me. And it's the humor that they throw in there for Gimli. He just acts so silly, and it's just really out of character for him. I know he has a certain kind of comedic effect for the entire trilogy, but I feel like he goes way over the top on this. He's blowing the ghost smoke, and then he's tiptoeing all over the fucking skulls, all silly and he's just being all scared and shit. And I don't know, man. I just didn't care for it, to be honest with you.
No, they did a whole justice on Gimli and Legolas for the entire series.
Absolutely, stark contrast for both of them. Gimli was a fucking badass in the books. He's kind of a side character in the movies.
And Legolas had a lot of talking moments in the books, and he actually had a real personality and a love for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Doesn't shine in the movies.
Right.
Yeah. I think this was best left on the cutting room floor, by all means. Oh, Aragorn deals with the dead and asks them to fight for him. If they do, he will free them of the curse. Sauron's army assembles in front of the White City. They envelop almost the entire field. Denethor loses all hope and is even more disillusioned as he sees Faramir's dead body. Gandalf knocks Denethor unconscious and takes over. He asks the men to stand their ground and keep fighting. Joining the forces on the ground are Nazguls from the skies. So, with the extended versions, there's several additional scenes here. Most notably for me, especially considering my complaints about the humor, was the scene where Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas are standing in front of the Haradrim on the boats, and then Legolas fires off a warning shot, and Gimli hits the bow as he shoots.
Yeah, that was super cheesy.
it was cheesy, but I actually kind of thought it was funny, to be honest with you.
Wasn't that Peter Jackson that got shot? He is in each movie.
Is he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Peter Jackson.
It's kind of like a Where's Waldo kind of moment.
Yeah, he's in every single movie.
So yeah, I don't mind this particular humor, mainly because they've used that humor previously.
Right.
Like when he shot the arrow in between Gimli's legs in
So the twitching dead guy?
Yeah. Like, okay, that makes sense. Like this kind of builds off of that. It wasn't just something they just threw in there for the third movie and it just didn't make any sense. Kind of like the him tiptoeing on fucking skulls and blowing smoke and shit like that.
And this added scene actually helped the movie because in the theatrical release, like the dead guys are like, yeah, we'll fight with you, and then the next time you see Aragorn and the dead guys, they sail up to the docks on a boat.
Yeah.
This one actually shows you how they get the boats.
Yep, exactly. Smeagol leads Frodo to the tunnel where he begins to doubt if it's the correct way. Smeagol pushes him to go in as it is the only way. Frodo takes the bait and goes in. He leads Frodo right into the path of a giant spider. Frodo uses the light of Arendelle, given to him by Galadriel in the first movie, to hold off the spider, who is blinded by it. Sam, who had started to turn back, discovers the bread in the rocks below and goes back towards the tunnel to help Frodo. Frodo unwittingly walks into the spider's web, unable to get out. Smeagol mocks him from the sidelines, but Frodo keeps fighting away and escapes barely. Outside, Smeagol attacks Frodo, asking for the ring. Frodo says he is going to destroy the ring as Smeagol falls down a pit trying to get his precious back. Frodo marches on alone, apologizing to Sam under his breath, realizing the big mistake he made. Galadriel's spirit awakens him from slumber and asks him to keep going. At Minas Tirith, the fight rages on. The orcs manage to break down the gate and enter the city. Unbeknownst to Frodo, the spider sneaks up on him and strikes him with its sting. She then starts wrapping him up in her web, but Samwise Gamgee arrives with the sword, and he valiantly fights the spider and emerges victorious. Frodo is stunned by the poison and lies still in Sam's arm. The sword turns blue as Sam sees orcs arrive, and he hides as the orcs take Frodo to the tower, not knowing he is the one with the ring. Samwise follows the orcs into the tower.
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. So the scene where the Grond breaks the gate at Mordor, or not at Mordor, at Minas Tirith, that scene where Gandalf is like encouraging all the men. He's like, "You are men of Gondor. Whatever the fuck comes through that gate, you're gonna stand your ground." And then the gate bursts open, and all the trolls roll in, and then it flashes to Gandalf's face, and he's like, "Fuck!"
Man, run!
I take
I was just joking, man. I was just joking. JK.
So the Grond is actually a tip of the cap to Melkor's mace that he used to carry. He had this big giant mace that he'd carry into battle, and its name was Grond.
Who?
Melkor is Saruman's master.
Morgoth.
Oh yeah. I think we mentioned him back in the first movie, right?
Morgoth.
Or the first review.
And the orc, Gothmog, is named after Lord of the Balrogs. Also, Gothmog. The guy with the fucking cauliflower face.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was disturbing.
Yeah.
In a great way.
Yeah. And that's something we're going to get into when we start discussing further movies, is practical costumes versus CGI monsters.
Just hold your thoughts there, sir. We're gonna get to that shortly, okay? I have notes. Everybody hold their erections, okay?
Wait. So we got to mention the greatest 1v1 ever. Sam versus Shelob. All right. Gardner versus this giant spider. He held his own.
He did. And like she was coming with that singer, and it was actually like the spider and the CGI and the special effects and all that looks great still.
Yes. They
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, it was a hell of a fight. It was good. I thought it was well choreographed.
Yeah. How she was like up top at the edge, like
Yes.
down looking at him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just him, taking his crown as the hero of the story.
He's a level
Hey,
99.
hey, you're cutting ahead, sir.
I'm just teasing the tip a little bit. That's it.
You tape that motherfucker down too, okay? We all have to.
That's fair. Oh shit. So Sean Astin he acted his ass off the entire film and the trilogy, but really acts his ass off in the scene. They gave him a lot to do, like emotionally speaking, with his acting in this film, and I think he really nails it. Sam has always been kind of the heart for me of the three movies, which when you think about it, the whole trilogy is about friendship and the things you would do for your friends and others. That is kind of like the cornerstone of the trilogy and really makes you relate to all the characters and helps you fall in love with them even more so. So, yeah, my boy acting his ass off in these scenes. Denethor prepares for Faramir's funeral when I can't fucking talk worth shit. When Pippin reveals that he is not dead, but he is ousted from the ceremony, at Minas Tirith, the orcs have overwhelmed the city's defenses. There is a whole ass scene here in the extended cut that was not in the OG theatrical release, where the Witch King shatters Gandalf's staff. Dope scene.
Wait, that in the theatrical?
That is
No,
not in the
it wasn't.
theatrical.
To be honest with you, I haven't seen the theatricals in many moons.
I watched them a week ago, or I watched it a week ago, so I could watch the extended and then compare the two.
Well, yeah. All right. Let's talk about this staff exploding because I remember you had a little
Yes.
bit to say about that. So
yeah, I don't like this scene
why?
Yeah. Why?
because
Staff explodes?
because the continuity later on in the film,
Yeah.
it didn't happen in the book.
He had extras in his pouch on the
Right?
horse.
Yeah. It didn't happen in the book.
Which
He
is
will.
closet.
Really, they made the Witch King out to be so much more powerful than Gandalf, which I think in actuality they were kind of like on an even plane.
I feel like without the power of Sauron, Gandalf would be much more superior. But whenever he unsheaths his sword, you see the flames. They're almost kind of, instead of coming away from the sword, like going to it, almost like he's gaining power.
But they're flames, and Gandalf is a master of fire.
Not that fire. That's the dark fire. So.
It's different.
Not to reveal a different question for Primo later on, Gandalf had a one up there too.
That is true. That's a good point. And I feel like that should have evened the playing field. But again, Sauron's kind of like Melkor. He pours his evil into his stuff, his people, his fucking defense.
Well, that's why I say even plane. So, like, Sauron's in the Witch King. Gandalf already had a power boost for being an Astarion and whatever else. So I think with Sauron's power added to the Witch King, they were more even level. Whereas in the movie, the Witch King was like way up here.
Yeah, because
I don't know.
Gandalf did destroy Saruman's staff. So I guess
Just by saying your staff is broken,
yeah.
and it just explodes.
I could see where maybe the Witch King was a little too OP for sure.
Yeah. For them to be taken out by a hobbit, and I said for them to just be taken out by a hobbit and a princess.
He's Achilles, man. He got stabbed.
Fucking hold your erection.
Oh yeah, shit. My bad.
But yeah, whole ass scene just not even there. Shatters Gandalf's staff. I'm curious to know why they cut it completely. I mean, I don't know who thought it was a good idea to give the Witch King less screen time. I also never realized that if you look in future scenes, Gandalf's staff changes colors. I think it's like a brown or like a tan looking.
He actually doesn't have the staff later on, does he?
He does.
Does he?
Yes, I want to say it's the scene where he goes with Pippin or goes with Mary, excuse me, into and say Faramir.
Okay, because he doesn't have.
He has a staff there.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the staff when he goes to the Black Gate.
When he's in up on the top wall when the battle first starts, he definitely has his staff and his sword. I don't know where that correlates with the Witch King, but that's probably the greatest dual wield ever: a wizard staff and a fucking elven sword.
Which I'm sad they didn't add it to this trilogy, but actually Gandalf's sword does also glow blue.
I guess they didn't want to make it seem like, oh, fucking everybody got a fucking sword that glows.
Frodo had Sting. What was Gandalf's name? Sword's name?
I don't remember.
I don't either. It was the two that him and or that Bilbo found in the troll cave, right?
Well, Bilbo found all three of them. Gandalf took one, the Dwarf King took the other one, and then Bilbo took the last one, and that one didn't have a name. He made the name. The other two had a name.
Goblin Cleaver.
Yes. Wait, was that his or was that
That was Gandalf's, I think. Maybe. What? Never mind. I'm thinking about shit in the Hobbit.
We'll talk about the Hobbit later.
So let's see here. As all hope is lost, the horn of the Hammerhead rings from the east. It is Rohan, who has arrived in swell numbers to fight the enemy. They bleed into the fields, running through the enemy, led by Theoden.
Hold on. Time out, sir.
All right.
We're just going to bypass what happens before they bleed into the field?
What you mean?
The speech on the hilltop?
Oh, no. Like I was taking that part, and we're gonna talk about it now.
Okay. I like the part right before this, though, where Pippin and Gandalf are standing behind one door, waiting to be just destroyed, and Pippin's like, "I don't want to die," and I don't want this to be the end, and Gandalf is like, "This isn't the end. Like, you die here, but you go on somewhere else." That was a good scene.
Yeah, when he's talking to him about like the afterlife and stuff.
Yeah, white beaches and trees and everything else like that.
Yeah.
It was a good quiet moment during a war.
During a very stressful scene.
All right, so now it's time to get rid of one of our erections, okay? Can we just talk about how fucking dope the pre-battle speech is for Theoden?
Oh my God.
Theoden St. Crispin Day speech going on from King Henry.
Like, by the end of that shit, by the end of his fucking speech, I'm like, dude, let's fucking go. Let's go, man.
Bruh, if I would have had a sword, I would have chopped up my fucking living room. Like, I was ready. I was torqued, son.
Now, okay, out of wartime speeches, you've got what's the one with what's his name? The Patriot actor.
Oh, you're talking about Braveheart.
Braveheart.
Yeah.
The Braveheart speech. The Independence Day speech. Theoden speech.
Theoden, hands down, baby. Hands down.
Ooh. I'm kind of on Independence Day.
Fucking screaming death.
Independence Day?
Independence Day.
I was going Braveheart.
It's a split field.
I think Theoden's speech is like a cunt hair below Braveheart, a cunt hair. But the thing that really sets apart Theoden's speech is him screaming death, and then everybody else.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, yes, let's fucking go. Let's all die. Let's do it.
It's like everybody else is like, yeah, we can do this. We're gonna win. And Theoden's like, fuck it, let's just go.
Let's go fucking die, boys.
Right. And what's also so awesome about this scene, and they do that like slow trot after they yell out scream, or they scream out the words death. It's like a slow trot, and then they slowly go into like a full sprint, and then that plus the fucking score on top of that.
Oh, Rohan's
chef's
score? Yeah.
Yes. Chef
The
kiss,
best
dude.
Just that
ever.
angelic voice. Yeah.
It is legitimately one of the best things about the entire trilogy.
I also like how the wave is not exactly a straight line. Like Theoden
Kind of V's out.
guys are like, yeah, the tip of the spear. Dude was a badass, man.
It's fucking savage.
Theoden is that dude.
Like, I'm telling you, the entire time I was diamond status.
Absolutely.
Now, this whole scene, okay, so they destroy all the orcs, and then the Oliphants show up.
Ooh.
Did you get Empire vibes on Hoth?
Not until you just mentioned it, but now that you mention it, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. And I just last night when I watched it, goes, God, this is Empire. This is Hoth.
I mean, you can't blame him for stealing it.
No.
Oh, such a fucking good scene. Good scene. They overrun the orcs as Pippin leads Gandalf to Faramir. Pippin climbs into the pyre and saves Faramir as he is burned alive and jumps from the top to his death. Wait, what?
Denethor.
Denethor.
Yeah, they fucking whatever. Just as they did, I like
stomps him into the fire.
I was like, that's not what happened. Just as Theoden's army has taken the upper hand, the mammoth Oliphants arrive with the Haradrim riding on their backs. We do get that dope ass sequence of Legolas fighting them, and then he does the little surfing thing off of them. Fucking cool.
Yeah.
Fucking
That's
cool.
also, up for number 1v1 battles. Like he
It
took
only
out
counts as one. It only counts as one though.
That's fucking fantastic. It only counts as one. Yeah, dude, I agree. I put it up there as best 1v1. That's fantastic.
Dude, those Oliphants are pretty badass. I like the way they depicted them with the 4 tusks instead of the 2.
And they had the spikes coming that they dressed them up with the spikes, and they had some that had the tripwires in between the tusks.
Right, and I like the scene where you kind of see Theoden's face drop when he turns back and sees them, and he's like, "Oh fuck!" Right before he's like, "All right, go on the line."
Right.
We're doing it. We're fucking doing it. Oh shit!
We've already committed.
Time for another speech, guys. Yeah.
Remember what I said? Let's go.
Let's do that again. Let's see. It is a tough battle, but they soldier on. Eowyn shows great courage as Theoden's men successfully wade off the mammoth creatures. Theoden rallies his men behind him, but the Nazgul knocks him down. He asks the fell beast to feast on Theoden's flesh as Eowyn jumps in front of him valiantly, and she even severs the beast's head and then fights the Witch King. The orcs think the pirate reinforcements have arrived, but instead it is Aragorn with the cursed army. Pippin and Eowyn work together to kill the Witch King. All right, time to get rid of another one of our fucking boners here, okay? We gotta fucking talk about this.
Okay. So, in the book, and it's not really explained in the book, but it's in the book. Mary is using a blessed sword that was given to him by Galadriel.
See,
it has magic elven powers that breaks the protective barrier of the Witch King whenever he gets stabbed in the leg. Mm-hmm. So at that point, anybody could kill the Witch King.
I like that better.
And just like
now, that all said, in the book, she does kill the Witch King.
Eowyn.
Yes, but not because she is a woman and not a man.
That is one of my biggest issues with that entire fucking sequence. I fucking hate it.
I mean, if you can look past that, though, it was a badass death scene for sure. How his helmet just fucking collapses into itself, and
yes,
and I can't remember.
You're talking strictly the actual him dying.
Yeah, him sucking in like a crushed can.
Yeah, that was fucking dope.
And then I don't remember in the theatrical if Pippin does stab the Witch King first.
Mary.
He does.
Mary. I'm sorry, Mary.
Yeah.
Mary in the theatrical. But both of them are severely poisoned and injured for touching the Witch King.
Yeah, you can see it like burn their hands through the sword.
Yeah. And like it really shows it for Mary. It doesn't really show it much for Arwen. That's her name?
Eowyn. Yeah.
Eowyn. For
Yeah.
Eowyn. It doesn't really show it that, but that's what leads to later on in the movie when they're in the House of Healing, where she's almost near death. It's because she killed the Witch King.
Bruh. So if she doesn't kill the Witch King, and this is kind of left field, but she doesn't kill the Witch King, how does the Army of the Dead fare against the Nazgul? Everybody's dead.
Well, the Army of the Dead show up, and then the Nazgul just kind of peace out.
Because they're fucking OP, man. They look like ants just running over everything.
Yeah, they just peaced out, and they came back later on for the Black Gate battle. They never tell you where they went to. They just
Right. They got dead guys. Let's get out of here.
Oh, fuck this. We got one dude screaming death over there. Fuck this. Dude's crazy. Yeah. So I've never liked the whole I'm no man, and then she fucking stabs him in the face. I've never liked that aspect of the fight. It sucks that they built this dude up as, like you said, an OP character, like an OP boss, and that's just the thing that's just how he dies, because he was stabbed in the face by a woman. Do what?
I don't like that trope.
What you mean?
Well, there's always in any of these movies, there's always the female character that conquers all, or like in like Endgame, they had that 2-minute scene where like all the female heroes get together and just start kicking ass and whatever else. It's like I find it unnecessary. I think if you just have them sprinkled in throughout every other scene, you don't have to have your woman beats all scene whenever your woman could kick ass with everybody else throughout those scenes.
Yeah.
Just know that 2 Game Podcast does not share those beliefs, and do not ban us.
No. I'm not hating on the woman hero. I hate on the focus of it, where you could.
It doesn't seem natural.
Right.
They should have had a scene where Mary like remembers that he's got this blessed blade. Oh, I can stab him. And then he yells, "Now!" And everything would have been
bitch. Death. But also with the scene, I do not like her acting. She overacts in this particular scene when she goes and stabs him in the face. I'm like, right, really? Like, I don't know. Like, you could have done it. Just take it down a notch.
You would have 5 seconds to put a shield up.
Just, yeah. I've never really liked it, but it just felt anticlimactic with him just getting stabbed in the face by a woman, and that's just how it ends. Like, we couldn't have thought a little bit harder about this.
A 1v1 with Gandalf on like a mountaintop would have been badass.
Bro, that would have been fucking dope.
I'm still good with her killing him, but instead of it being just because she's a woman, how about because she's a skilled fucking swordsman, and now the field has been evened out because he was stabbed by a special sword?
No, 100%. I fucking agree with you on that. 100%.
Yeah. Maybe she like parries him and hits him in the side or something, and he realizes he can be injured.
Right. Now it's like, oh,
I don't know, dude. She wasn't fucking getting a hit on him. He fucking shattered. He shattered that shield.
And
look like a boss battle in fucking Dark Souls.
She just starts fucking rolling to the side, back and forth, shooting fireballs.
Parry.
Why do you keep fucking rolling?
First.
Let's see here. The cursed army defeats the remaining orcs as the unlikeliest of victories awaits the men. Theoden lies on the ground, proud of Eowyn. He asks her to let him go and thanks her for saving him. He breathes his last breath in her arms. Aragorn releases the cursed men as promised. The fight at Minas Tirith is over.
And now Primo's OG Carl Urban moment.
Yes. So Carl Urban jumps into this bitch and he is fucking crying and he is screaming and it is fucking fantastic. It lasts like 10 seconds. It's like my sex life. But it's fantastic for 10 seconds.
Like, you can definitely feel the emotion when he sees her on the.
I was like, dude, is that like a real scene? It was like she really did? Because that dude was fucking acting his ass off there. He fucking gets done. Oh, guys, I think she's really dead. So the theatrical edition cuts out all the stuff with Eowyn falling ill to the Black Breath and then falling in love with Faramir. For the extended edition DVD, the scene in which Pippin is looking for Merry after the battle, and I noticed this on this watch when he goes and finds Merry. I was like, when the fuck was that done at night? I'm pretty sure that was fucking during the day. Originally, and I was like, am I fucking losing my shit here? No, they actually changed it for the extended edition. They changed it from day to night. They wanted you to think
in theatrical, but it's daytime.
Yeah, in the theatrical edition, they make it seem like Pippin was like, "Oh, where is he?" And then he turns around and there he is. Like it was kind of like fast that he found him,
and not searching all day for him.
I like the night touch, like he's been searching for hours.
Yes.
Shows the dedication. Yeah.
Dedication, right?
I think there was a little bit of light and dark discontinuity because like the whole scene was supposed to have taken place in darkness because that's the only way that the orcs could make it to Minas Tirith.
All right.
So Sauron had cast a darkness over the lands so the orcs could approach. And there was a lot of daylight. The whole battle was more brighter verse. And I get it. They didn't want to have a regurgitation of Helm's Deep battle playing out in the dark,
or Battle of Winterfell. Game of Thrones reference.
I told you I wasn't gonna do it. We're not talking about it. I made a promise.
Chris was like, fuck.
Buckle in. Here we go.
I made a promise. We're not doing it.
Just poking the bear. Let's see here. So the action shifts to Sauron's tower where Frodo wakes up. He cannot find the ring. Sam follows secretly and retrieves Frodo from under the orc guard. Frodo is desolate, but Sam reveals he has it. For a moment, the ring takes over Sam, but the brave hobbit gets his bearings and hands over the ring. Nice little touch, I think, to kind of help his arc and his character.
I feel like maybe it takes over Sam, but at the same time, like he's reaching out with it. And then Frodo's like, give me that shit. Give me my fucking ring.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it was really Sam wanting to keep it versus Sam afraid to give it
Whoa,
back.
this dude. Fuck. Yeah. That's kind of the vibe I was getting.
I can see both sides where you think it was him.
Or maybe a little bit of both.
Should I give this back to him?
Right. Like, I really don't want to get worse.
As soon as he starts reaching out with it, and he's like, oh, hold on, buddy.
I think the thing that kind of makes me lean more towards it's him wanting the ring is his look is kind of the same look that other people have given when they're getting corrupted by the ring.
Well, they did have the music.
And they did have the music with the black speech and whatnot.
Do you know Sam is only one of 2 people that have willingly given up the ring?
Yeah, it was
Boromir.
Him.
Bilbo and Sam are the only 2 that. Well,
no,
I guess
Frodo
did hold it for a second.
Boromir picked it up
and
then
he never held it. He held the chain.
Well, Sam was holding the chain.
Yeah, but he also wore it. Sam wore it around his neck.
I think this would be the perfect time to say that Sam most definitely held Frodo's chain, if you know what I'm saying.
Hey-o.
Aragorn, he didn't technically hold it. But he was presented said ring and he gave it back to Frodo.
I mean, even just seeing it does something.
Right, yeah.
Because you could see the turmoil even at the original Fellowship at Rivendell. Like as soon as they set it out, everybody's like, "Holy shit!"
How about this? Sam is only one of two people that have worn the ring on their finger and then willingly given it back.
Okay, I will cede you that.
Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Which I don't think in the movie he didn't wear on his finger.
I think he just had it in his pocket.
He
Yeah, he just had it in his
had
pocket.
it on the chain. Yeah. In the book, he actually wears it for several hours on his finger
Yeah, he
Oh, really?
into the tower.
pirate door. Yeah.
Oh, that'd have been interesting. Oh, let's see here. They wear Orc Guard to go through the final leg of hurdles towards Mordor, the plains of Gorgoroth. The Eye is keeping a stern look, but the brave hobbits march on. Gandalf and the council decide to create a diversion for Frodo to get through. To give him the best chance, perhaps even to themselves, they risk their own lives. Sauron's remaining army marches to the gates of Mordor to meet the incoming enemy. The hobbits are almost there. Aragorn, with the remaining army of men, stand at the gate, prepared for battle. The council goes near the door to see where the army is. They call out to the army, and the gates creak open. Frodo's last steps into Mordor are shaky as the Eye spots him on the rocks, but loses him and then focuses firmly on the gate, just as the council planned. One thing we get into this discussion. One thing we haven't discussed in this deep dive series is just how spectacular the costume design and the makeup is for all three movies, but especially in Return of the King. Sam and Frodo look like fucking dog shit, and the makeup
Absolutely.
really fucking helps that kind of get driven home.
Yeah, they got some city miles for sure.
Yeah. Even Gandalf at the end of the battle when he kicks Denethor into the flames, that dude looks worn the fuck out.
And did you notice that
The
from
burn
him
marks?
carrying the ring, he has burn marks on his neck? I never noticed that before.
Yep.
And then also, did you notice that once he, I guess spoiler alert, when he destroys the ring, you know how he looks like dog shit right now? He actually looks better as soon as the ring is destroyed in terms of his makeup. He looks healthier.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I definitely never noticed that.
And you see that, well, you see the shift immediately in his personality, where he, and they mention it, but we'll get to that part of the scene in a minute.
Also related to this, and goes back to the whole design, costumes, and makeup. The mouth of Sauron makes his appearance.
Good addition to the extended.
Absolutely.
What'd you say?
I said a good addition to the extended.
So his design is fantastic. It gives me, it's creepy as fuck. Really gives off those Del Toro vibes.
Silent Hill.
Yeah, dude. Like I was like, did Del Toro like have a fucking hand in this? Because that looks exactly like a character from like fucking a Del Toro movie.
Right.
It's interesting that they cut this from the film completely. Not sure the entire scene was executed properly. But the aesthetics and his character and the design of it was all fantastic. I kind of wish there was more of it, honestly.
Yeah, it was short-lived. It was a nice little fuck you to Sauron when Aragorn yeeted his head. But it was a good addition in the fact that he had the mithril. So the company was convinced that Frodo had been captured. It was completely dismal, and they're still like, fuck it. Let's ride out.
Then it's just like, death!
Raises up.
They didn't confirm it, but it seemed like Gandalf picked up on the fact that they were not dead.
Yeah, he kind of had that inkling.
Like, if they were caught, then you would have the ring.
we wouldn't be standing here talking right now.
Exactly. And Aragorn, like a savage, just fucking cuts his head off. That's fucking awesome.
Whew.
Let's see here. The men are outnumbered. Frodo is the only chance of survival. They're engulfed by Sauron's humongous army. Sam pushes Frodo on by describing the Shire in spring. When Frodo doesn't respond, Sam carries Frodo to the final steps. Again, showing how he is a hero. Just saying. Aragorn advances to fight for Frodo as the men join him. And we get the fantastic line, simple but effective line here, okay? You know, we got the rah-rah speeches, we got death being screamed in previous battle sequences. Aragorn just turns around and just softly says, for Frodo, and then fucking runs.
And it will
Fucking love it.
It'll be a gift that lives on forever.
Fucking love that scene.
I just used that gift like a week ago.
You're right. I just like how they were able to the differences between the two. Like he obviously has his battle speech and it's good. I mean, it's not as good as Theoden's, but it's still pretty good. But the whole for Frodo thing, and then everybody's kind of like, okay, and then he just takes off, and everybody's like, oh fuck, we need to go with him, and it's all like, you know how you said earlier, they kind of went in a V shape with Theoden. There's no form to this. It's just everybody running as fast as they can, and I love that difference between the two battles in this case.
All right. So comparing Fellowship last battle scene to this last battle scene, Aragorn approaching all the Uruk-hai versus Aragorn racing to his death against all of the Mordor orcs.
Fellowship.
I'm going. Yeah, agreed.
Look, it's for the simple fact that he was such a savage.
All just talking about like, what's up, bitch? What you got?
Like the dude just turned around and went, all right, let's fuck some bitches. And like he wasn't fucking scared, no nothing. Pure savage moment. That I think that's what puts it over the edge for me.
Absolutely.
The battle continues. Oh, let's see here. Sam reaches the doorway, but Smeagol attacks them all of a sudden, and a fight ensues between them. Frodo runs for the doorway. The battle continues at the gates. Frodo is nearly there. He stands at the edge of the bridge that leads into the raging fire of Mordor. He stands with the ring in his hands, but he pauses. He can't throw it in the fire. The ring whispers to him and shines in his eyes. The ring is mine, he says, pressing it close to his heart and wearing it, disappearing. Smeagol knocks Sam. Do what?
Just the defeat in Sam's face. Like, really, bro? We fucking did all this?
We just made it. It's been 12 hours. We're finally here.
I mean, it was a 13-month journey of just getting your dick knocked in the dirt.
We're a cunt hair from being done.
It would have been better if he would have just fucking tossed his ass in. No.
See, Smeagol knocks Sam unconscious and jumps on Frodo. He bites his finger and retrieves the ring, completely overwhelmed by it. He dances around in joy. Frodo gets up and he pushes Gollum into the fire with the ring. Frodo hangs on the rocks below as Sam tries to help him up. He does, and the ring that settled on the lava melts into the fire. It is destroyed. And as it does, the eye explodes. Sauron's army vanquishes and falls into the pit in the ground. The bottomless pit swallows them whole. The evil is defeated as the tower crumbles down, and Mount Doom explodes as well as everything in Mordor's vicinity starts to go down. I guess we can go ahead and talk about this now, because I do want to make note that no one ever mentions Sam. Okay, no one ever mentions him. When Pippin or Merry say something, when they find out news about Frodo and Sam, it's Frodo, and it kind of pisses me off because my boy Sam was the true hero of the story. You can make a case for Gollum, but I think we can all agree that Frodo is not the hero of the story.
So no. Tolkien will disagree with you. Tolkien.
What he says.
He's that wrote the story. So
that guy.
So looking at the book literature, Frodo actually cursed Gollum. Whenever they made the agreement for Gollum to guide them and said, the ring is treacherous, it will hold you to his word. When Gollum broke his word, Gollum was then cursed. So, and in the book, Frodo and Gollum did not fight over the ring. Gollum got the ring, was so happy and dancing around, he lost his footing and fell into the flames. And that was the ring fulfilling its curse that Frodo put upon Gollum.
I think I would have liked that better.
I like the fighting. It was a nice touch. Him just accidentally falling down when he's been just climbing fucking cliffs and mountains and rocks and shit the whole time.
But it was just a curse fulfilled.
I love how Gollum is just smiling the entire time he falls down. He doesn't actually ever
Even when he's in the flames, and then he still is trying to keep the ring out of the lava the entire time. But yes, I actually, in junior high, I wrote an essay on how Frodo was not the hero of the story, but Sam was.
My man.
Right?
That's a damn good paper.
Yep. I got good marks. My teacher agreed.
So Sam and Frodo make it. They rejoice seeing the enemy being defeated and are stranded on a rock as molten lava spreads around them. Frodo and Sam daydream of the Shire and everything wonderful about the place they call home. And just as all hope is lost, Gandalf's eagles rescue them. Frodo wakes up days after his heroic acts of singular importance to find Gandalf sitting at his bedside. Merry, Pippin, and Gimli, Legolas, and Aragorn walk into to see their hero. Air quotes around that for those that are just listening. Healthy and well. Samwise arrives at the last, and his eyes meet that of Frodo in the most. We watched the TikTok video. Guys, they wanted to fuck. I'm sorry.
Bro,
100%.
How about when everybody's walking in and Frodo's like, "Oh, Aragorn, hey," and then Legolas walks in and he's just kind of like, and then the next
literally said one sentence to me this entire time. Cool.
Just kind of smiles and nods.
Where was your fucking bow the entire time?
I did notice. I was like, man, damn, he didn't say nothing to fucking Legolas.
Oh, and also before they got picked up, they had 3 eagles because they had sent one for Schmiegel, hoping they would have made it.
Damn, is that in the books?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I'm speculating.
I don't remember, but yeah. Yes.
There were 3 eagles.
Oh, let's see here. I'm trying to figure out where I'm at again.
Sam and Frodo's loving look.
Yeah, let's see here. They nod in contentment and admiration for what they endured together. I'm sure that's why they nodded.
That's what I nod was going on.
At Minas Tirith, Aragorn takes oath as the new king of Gondor. All bow down to him, and he delivers a rousing speech. Lord Elrond gives Arwen's hand to the king. They are to be wedded, and Arwen's vision will come true. Aragorn sees the hobbits, who bow to him, but Aragorn interrupts them and says, "My friends, you bow to no one." And everyone bows to thank them for their heroics. Frodo narrates the tale afterwards. 13 months from that day, he writes that the Fellowship ended with the ring destroyed, which I like the fact that they broke up in the first movie, and they all came back together for the most part, with the exclusion of Boromir. So the Fellowship came back together.
R.I.P. Sean Bean.
I like the touch of the tree, the white tree, blooming and blowing in the wind as he was being christened as king. It's a nice touch.
I don't remember if it's the extended edition only, or if it's on the theatrical version. But after Aragorn takes the sword from Elrond,
oh, the blossom on the tree,
the blossom of the tree.
Yeah,
I was like, that's a nice little touch. I don't remember if it's in the theatrical.
I don't think that was in the theatrical.
I don't think it was either.
Because in the book, he actually has to go to a valley and find a sapling of that tree. The dead tree gets fucking yeeted. He plants a new.
And that's actually the third tree, because the first tree was on Numenor. And then when Numenor was destroyed, was it the fourth tree?
Yeah, because it was Numenor, then Minas.
Oh, Osgiliath.
Minas Ithil first, and then they overtook that and turned it Minas Morgul, and then he moved it to Minas.
Osgiliath. Well, there was one in Osgiliath too.
It was Minas Onthor, and then I think maybe Osgiliath next, and then that one got moved to Minas Tirith. But yeah, that's the OG tree. Isildur brought the fucking seed from Numenor. That's crazy.
The hobbits return to Bag End, and Sam finally marries Rosie. Frodo has completed the unwritten chapters in his Uncle Bilbo's book, with a space left for a few more. The hobbits leave to a big goodbye to Bilbo and Gandalf, who will go with the elves to the west into Valinor. Galadriel announces that the time has come for the Dominion of Men, and that the time of the Three Rings is over. Bilbo goes straight ahead onto the ship. Gandalf says his goodbyes. His work here is finished, and now he must go back. All of the hobbits, except Frodo, weep to see the great wizard depart, but he pauses and turns, saying, "It is time, Frodo." All the hobbits turn to him in shock, and Frodo explains that he is leaving with Gandalf, as the Shire has been saved. He hands over the Red Book of Westmarch to Sam, encouraging him to write his own chapters. Sam comes back to the Shire, ready to begin a new life with his wife and kids. This movie was originally going to end with a voiceover epilogue by Galadriel, detailing the fate of the Fellowship of the Ring after the events of the movie. Scenes showing Gimli and Legolas for this purpose had been shot, but were not used in any version of the finished movie. And with that, guys, the trilogy is done.
All right, now trivia question, Primo. We're finished. Trivia question. Who had the 3 elven rings?
Galadriel,
Okay.
Elrond,
Okay.
and old dude. I don't fucking know his name, but it was the dude standing next to Galadriel. Was he even in?
It's Reindeer.
What's his name?
His name was Celeborn, wasn't it? Gandalf actually had it.
Celeborn is
The
yeah.
third one. Okay.
Yeah. So, I am the Lord of Flame, the holder of whatever. His speech to the Belrog was pretty much him nutting up and saying, "I have the 3rd elven ring, motherfucker. You can't defeat me."
Which explains why he was able to 1v1 that dude.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Gandalf.
Wait, I think
Gandalf
you had
had
mentioned
the Ring of Fire.
I think you had mentioned in the very first review that he did have a ring. I can't remember.
I withheld. I had it written down, and I said I'm not going to talk about it because I
know we
to
I don't know on the pod or if it was just in person, but me and you talked about it, Nick.
Yeah,
not long ago.
Because I knew you knew, but I did not think Primo did.
No, I didn't. I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah, and you actually see it when they're at the boat and he has his hand on his staff. You can see the Ring of Fire on his hand.
Just flexing on him a little bit. I gotta hit out, boys.
Perfect form there, by the way, sir.
Lots of practice.
I understand.
And that's what honestly turned Sauron against Gandalf in the very beginning, was when Gandalf came to Middle Earth with Sauron and Radagast. And who was the elf that had it originally?
Gil-galad.
Yeah,
King
so Sauron shows up, Radagast shows up, and then lastly Gandalf shows up. And he gave the ring to Gandalf because he saw something in Gandalf that he didn't see in the other two Astari. And that pissed Saruman off.
Could you imagine if he gave it to Saruman?
You fucked up. Instant regrets. But yeah, guys, that is it. That is the conclusion of the OG trilogy. This is 3 years in the making for me. It's mostly like the last year for us, but I wanted to do
waiting a long time.
but this has been a series that I've wanted to do for the last 3 years. So to finally be able to fucking conclude it and to have it just done with, is fantastic. Like I said, in the first review, maybe I say in the second review, I don't remember. But we will be reviewing the Hobbit trilogy and the Rings of Power as well. Now we're not doing individual episodes of Rings of Power. That's just gonna be too much fucking work.
You know
So
when
we're just gonna
season
be.
2 comes out?
No, no. But I do. Wait, no. I'm thinking about the Game of Thrones show. What the fuck was that called? Uh, House of the Dragon. I saw a little preview of it. And I was like, ooh, that CGI doesn't look very good. But I was thinking Rings of Power. Got confused. Whatever. But no, I don't know when that's going to is. But we're just going to review the entire season as a whole rather than individual episodes.
That's fair.
But yeah, guys, I'm excited to do all that. I appreciate both of you joining me for this trilogy. It was a hell of a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Had a blast.
And I told you this shit would be 2 hours, didn't
We are right there. Yep.
I?
Ah, damn.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be long, sir. I knew it was going to be long.
I was torqued up. I was ready for this one.
Right? As soon as I finished it, I was like, oh, dude, this is going to be the best one out of 3. But yeah, that is going to be it from us, guys. Hopefully, I don't know when. Like, we're going to review this episode in 2 weeks, but I don't know in terms of when it will actually get released for the public. So be on the lookout for that for the Hobbit trilogy. But until then, we will catch y'all next time on another episode. Laters.